A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
Unto Moses, saying, Command the children of Israel that they bring unto thee pure oil olive, beaten for the light, to cause the lamps to burn continually in the tabernacle of the congregation. And it shall be a statute forever in your generations.
The eternal light. The National Broadcasting Company and its affiliated independent stations present The Eternal Light.
Last week, the Radio Institute of Ohio State University, meeting at Columbus, Ohio, named The Eternal Light as the best religious program broadcast by a national network. The Jewish Theological Seminary of America wishes to express its deep appreciation for this award.
Our story today by Morton Wishengrad is entitled To Conquer the Sea and features Donald Buca as Jacob Casby and Stuart McIntosh as the British chaplain.
All the events related in this story happened as is here set forth. Only the manner of the telling has been altered.
Lieutenant. What is it, sailor? This man is collapsed, frozen. Sunstroke.
Well, quickly, doctor, quickly.
It happened 3 years ago on a transport vessel of His Majesty's Merchant Navy, somewhere in the Indian Ocean, approaching the Red Sea. I was senior Jewish chaplain of the British forces in the Middle East. The heat was intense. Sleep was a torture by night, the portholes blacked out and hermetically sealed. By day, the sun poured down its pitiless rays, and for the first time I understood the Talmudic phrase for a hot day. The Holy One, blessed be He, brought the sun out of its sheath.
Sailor, never mind the doctor. Report to the captain, this man is dead.
Chaplain, sorry to send for you. One of the crew has died of sunstroke. Will you take the burial service?
Yes, Captain, I'll do that. You'll want the Protestant burial service?
No, Chaplain. We have reason to believe that the lad was a member of your faith. This locket was taken from the body. Can you make out the inscription?
Jacob Casby.
That's his name on the ship's papers. What's that inscribed beneath the name, Chaplain?
Ivri Anochi.
Ivri?
Do you know, or do you remember the book of Jonah, Captain? When the mariners seized Jonah and were about to throw him into the turbulent sea, they spoke to him. What is thine occupation? Whence comest thou? What is thy country? And of what people art thou? And Jonah answered, Ivri Anochi. I am a Hebrew.
Thank you, Chaplain.
Who was he, sir?
Well, we know nothing except the lad's name. And the body has been taken to the ship's hospital, Chaplain. I'll have the steward show you the way.
In the ship's hospital, I uncovered the face of the dead seaman, and I was struck by its beauty. I saw an oval face surmounted by a crop of black, curly hair, a slender nose. In that bronzed face, there was nothing to instill fear or sorrow. There was only the calm sleep of death. I lit 2 candles by his head, and I called for water and a sponge to wash the body. Then I recited the prayer for the dead, and I wrapped my prayer shawl around the body, and I wept, and could not say why I wept. At 7 o'clock the following morning, when the sun was a brazen monster in the eastern sky and had no healing in its wings, I recited the Hebrew burial service for a dead seaman.
Bosun, you may signal the engine room.
A weird, unearthly silence descended on us. The ship's engine stopped, and as the body of the unknown seaman was committed to the sea, the mighty voice of the ship was stilled in homage to the majesty of death.
Bosun, you have the envelope?
I have, Captain.
I'll take it, Bosun.
Very good, sir.
Chaplain, this may interest you. There's no address. This writing is in Hebrew, isn't it?
Yes, Captain.
Well, return these papers at your convenience, Chaplain. Steward, a bit of ice and mineral water for the chaplain and myself.
In my cabin, as I took up the papers of the dead seaman, I was vexed with myself. What was this unknown life to me in a world where so many whom I knew and loved were among the dead and dying? And yet my hand trembled as I began to read. Dear Father, so it began. I miss you, Father. I miss Mother. And now I have caused you distress by going away. But, Father, in Poland I have always been sad. I have not been bitter, but I have been sad because on all sides I could see only a growing feeling against our people. Father, tell me, where in Poland was there for me
the certainty of an honorable livelihood? I wish to go to Palestine. Are you smiling, Father? Very well. I will say it simply. I do not wish to work on the land. I wish to be one of the pioneers who go down to the sea in ships. All right. Laugh if you want to. But I'm going to train myself for the Kabush Hayam, the conquest of the sea. When I tried to sign on as a deckhand on a fishing vessel at Gdynia Harbor, the Polish captain also laughed.
Little Jew, did you ever catch a glimpse of the sea before today?
My name is Jacob Cosby.
Have you been to sea?
No.
Do you know port from starboard?
I have read books. I know.
Books, huh? Only lunatics read books.
They that go down to the sea in ships, that do business in great waters, they see the works of the Lord and his wonders in the deep.
Mate, sign the little Jew on as a deckhand. He has no experience, but he's a lunatic. And a man like me can always appreciate a lunatic. Sign him on! Mate, hold the helm hard into the sea. No slack. No slack, mate. Hold her hard.
Sir,
What do you want?
the cook is sick.
He's been eating his own cooking. Serves him right.
He's very sick, sir.
Huh? All right, you tend to the doctoring.
Please, sir, I'm not a doctor.
Who said you were? You'll find some bottles in my cabin. Number 1 is for scurvy. Number 2 is for stomach sickness. Bottle number 3 is for fever.
I know, sir. The cook has a high fever, but bottle number 3 is empty.
Well, what are you standing there for? Mix bottle 1 and bottle 2.
Mix them, sir.
Didn't you learn arithmetic? 1 plus 2 equals 3. Mix the bottle. Mate, hold her hard. Don't slack. I said don't slack.
I read on. Jacob told how he learned about the sea on the fishing vessel. And because he was training himself for Palestine, he learned quickly. Father, when the storms came up and the deck slanted and the ship rolled in the sea, I understood the 107th Psalm. They mount up to the heavens, they go down to the depths. Their soul is melted
because of trouble. They reel to and fro and stagger like a drunken man. Father, this is the only kind of drunkenness I wish for. The drunkenness of the sea. Someday soon, I will go upon the Palestinian Sea and cast my nets and bring my haul to the markets of Tel Aviv. Do not smile. I shall go. But it nearly didn't happen. The war broke out and caught our little ship at Gdynia Harbor. For 4 days, we remained at anchor, while the German guns bombarded the Hela Peninsula. On the 5th day, the captain called us together.
You all here?
Yes, sir.
Well, what's to do about it? If we stay anchored here, they'll nab us all.
You tell us, Captain.
Well, this is what I think. Tonight we pull in our anchor.
Where to?
We try for England.
Why, Captain, we've never been out of the Baltic. We have no charts for the North Sea.
That's right. Cook says we have victuals for 2 days, maybe 3. I still say we run for England. In England, we can fight for Poland. Here, we'll be captured. Now, I'll say it plain. We carry 2 shotguns and 2 revolvers. Speak your mind.
I'll fight for Poland. I fight for Poland also.
Let's say it.
You?
Yes, sir.
Huh? Little Jew, do you wish to fight for Poland?
Why do you ask?
You think I'm a fool? I know you don't want to go back to Poland.
If the ship reaches England, I have a chance of reaching Palestine.
Well?
If we remain here, there is no chance of Palestine. I want to fight the Nazis from Palestine.
A good Polish ship. All lunatics. All right, mate. Break out the ammunition for the shotguns and the 2 revolvers. We sail tonight. Quietly, you fools. We want to raise the anchor, not the German Navy.
Anchor up.
Jacob.
Yes, sir?
Signal the mate. Have him start the engine. Well?
I was thinking, sir.
Stop thinking. Do as I say. What were you thinking?
The engine is noisy.
Brilliant.
I was also thinking that the tide is running out to sea.
Huh?
We could drift, sir. Isn't that what you were thinking, sir?
Me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I believe I did say it. Fine idea, just as I say. We drift toward England.
Yes, sir. We drift toward England. And Palestine.
How many planes do you make out?
What's the difference? We've been spotted. A patrol boat will be in the Skagerrak in half an hour.
My shotgun's loaded. I don't go back to Gdynia.
Spoken like a good lunatic. Jacob, hand me the revolver. You keep the other one.
No, sir.
Afraid, huh? Oh, I'm disappointed.
I'm not afraid, sir. I want to reach Palestine.
You've got another idea that I just thought up, huh?
Turn the vessel about, Captain. Point the bow toward Gdynia.
Eh?
Those planes have signaled our position, sir. I think it would be advisable to turn about.
What's the idea I now have? Oh, little Jew, you're a very fine lunatic. It's crazy enough to work. Mate, run down to my cabin and fetch a bottle of iodine for our friend Jacob. I've given him an idea.
Stand by to receive boarding party. What ship are you?
Who are you?
Shut up. You are a prize of war. Stand by.
What? War?
Are you pretending you do not know?
We've been out to sea. We're heading home.
It should be a surprise. Stand by. We're coming aboard. Are you the captain?
No, sir. The captain is sick.
Are you the mate?
No, sir, the mate is sick. Smallpox.
Huh?
Smallpox, sir. We're trying to reach port as quickly as we can.
Don't try to. You. Turn your face toward me. This way, sir. Hein? Pull away! Get it out of here! It's a plane!
What's the matter, Jacob? You don't laugh at my idea.
No, sir. Now they will probably send a destroyer or a plane to sink us.
Huh?
I think they will take no chances with us, sir. They will sink us.
That's what I think. Jacob, what idea do I have now?
We pray.
We do?
Then they cry out unto the Lord in their trouble. And he bringeth them out of their distress. He bringeth them unto the haven of their desire. Psalm 107.
Very good. We have prayed. Now what do we do?
The Lord will show us a way, even as he will return his people Israel to the Holy Land.
Jacob, what's my latest idea?
We take to the lifeboat, sir.
What for? The ship isn't sinking yet?
It would help if they would think so.
Too much of a lunatic I don't care for. Maybe, though... this time I have an idea. Abandon ship. Abandon ship! Lower the lifeboat! Jacob, I'm a bigger lunatic than you. We'll row away from the vessel, then we'll capsize the lifeboat. Long live the lunatic.
Father, it was an act of inspired madness. We rowed away from our vessel, then we obeyed the captain's orders and capsized the lifeboat. The Nazi plane sprayed us with machine gun bullets, but providentially, no one was hit. The Nazis rode us off as dead, and
they flew away. The water was cold, but we waited. And then we swam back to our damaged ship. For 2 days we were without food. But then a beautiful British warship found us and towed us into the port of Aberdeen, which is a fine granite city in the northeast coast of Scotland. I said goodbye to my companions. I knew where I was going. I would find a ship and go to Palestine.
In Palestine, in the city of Tel Aviv, there is a nautical school. I cannot mail this letter to you because of the war, but I shall hold it and send it to you from Tel Aviv. Now, I must find passage.
Clear out, young man. His Majesty's Merchant Navy does not accept seamen under their own very special condition. Clear out.
What's wrong, Mr. Malcolm?
The lad here wants to join the ship.
By all means.
No, sir. He asks to leave the ship when we reach Egypt.
Why, Egypt?
To go to Palestine. Clear out, man. Do you understand?
A moment, Mr. Malcolm. Young man, what's your name?
Ask, sir. You'll be purple in the face. He speaks no civilized language, only Polish and German.
Ivri Anochi.
And that's Hebrew. Very well. In 3 languages, I say clear out, man.
Mr. Malcolm.
Sir?
The ship sails tomorrow. We need additional crew. Under the circumstances, I think it could be arranged for the lad to leave ship at Egypt.
It's not usually permitted, sir.
Sign him on, Mr. Malcolm. The circumstances permit.
Bosun.
What is it, Taylor?
Man collapse, sir. Sunstroke.
Take a doctor, quickly.
Yes.
And this is how the story ended 3 years ago. The Holy One, blessed be He, brought the sun out of its sheath, a sun toxic, death-healing, with no healing in its wings.
Never mind the doctor. Reporting the captain, this man's dead.
In my possession there is a Bible that does not belong to me, and on the flyleaf is written, Jacob Casby, of those that go down to the sea in ships. Jacob Casby, Ivri Anochi, I am a Hebrew.
Chaplain, we should like to notify the next of kin.
His family lived in Poland, Captain.
It's too bad. Well, I suppose his next of kin are the young men who go to Palestine. I know you feel badly, Chaplain, but I'm sure it's the end he would have chosen. He set out to conquer the sea, but the sea conquered him.
I think it is of things like this that a people's history is written. Not in the clash of armies, nor in the meetings of the parliaments, but in the lives of unknown men and women who go forth with courage and idealism and do not return. Jacob Casby lies deep in the Indian Ocean with no stone to mark his resting place and no friend to mourn the death of his modest hope. Out from Tel Aviv the fishermen go and sail the Palestinian sea, and they are less by one because he does not sail. He claimed the sea, and the sea claimed him, and I am unaccountably sad for Jacob Casby, whom I did not know, but whom I loved.
If you would like a free copy of today's script, write to The Eternal Light at 3080 Broadway, New York, 27, New York. And now, we present Rabbi Joel Geffen, Associate Director of the Department of Public Education and Community Service of the Jewish Theological Seminary of America. Rabbi Geffen.
In the profoundly moving report which Judge Simon Rifkin brought to us from his recent mission as advisor to General Eisenhower on the problem of the Jewish DPs, he tells us that he gained more strength and courage from these innocent victims of modern barbarism than he was able to give them. Judge Rifkin said that Hitler had not won his war against the Jews because today in Germany and in Austria there are 100,000 Jews who have the courage to endure, who are determined to live as Jews, who are prepared to pioneer again and create a Jewish civilization. These Jacob Caspis should serve as an inspiration to many of us who, although living under more fortunate circumstances, oftentimes grow panicky at the slightest mishap and balk at demands for personal sacrifice for the welfare of the community. The miracle of the survival of these tens of thousands of our Jacob Caspis should give renewed faith to those of us who still believe in that age-old slogan of Ivri Anochi, I am a Hebrew. Only yesterday, a member of our Jewish community begged me to give him the answer to the question, why should we struggle to persevere as a Jewish group? Why should we and our children face the suffering and humiliation which often befalls us? My answer was the words of our gifted modern Hebrew poet Bialik. And shouldst thou wish to know the source from which thy tortured brethren drew in evil days their strength of soul, then enter thou the house of God, the house of study, old and gray. And then thy heart shall guess the truth, that thou hast touched the sacred ground of thy great nation's house of life. Civilization will be enriched as long as there are Jacob Caspis who search deeply for Israel's message, who keep alive our people's hope for a national existence, and who, above all, drink deeply of the fountain of religious idealism.
Thank you, Rabbi Geffen. The Eternal Light is written by Morton Wishengrad. The music was composed by Morris Namorsky and conducted by Milton Catons. The chaplain was Stuart McIntosh, and Jacob Caspi was played by Donald Duker. Cantor David Putterman sang the liturgical introduction. The entire production was under the direction of Frank Patt. To Conquer the Sea appeared originally in the Menorah Journal. If you would like a free copy of today's script, write to the Eternal Light, 3080 Broadway, New York, 27, New York. This program is a weekly presentation of the National Broadcasting Company and its affiliated independent stations and comes to you under the sponsorship of the Jewish Theological Seminary of America. This is NBC, the National Broadcasting Company.
spake unto Moses, saying, Command the children of Israel that they bring unto thee pure oil olive, beaten for the light, to cause the lamps to burn continually in the tabernacle of the congregation, and it shall be a statute forever in your generations.
The Eternal Light. The National Broadcasting Company and its affiliated independent stations present The Eternal Light, a program which comes to you each week under the auspices of the Jewish Theological Seminary of America. Today's drama by Morton Wishengrad is entitled A Pity for the Living and is based upon a story by Sholem Aleichem. Featured as the boy is Michael Artist.
Was once a little boy or a little girl. It's hard to believe, isn't it? I find it very hard. Do you think the Tsar of Russia was once a little boy? Teacher says so. Of course I believe Teacher. But I'll tell you something. Of all the grown-ups I know, the only one who was ever really and truly a little boy was Teacher. I know. Because Teacher is very good. He sees certain things.
Lady, look at that little fly on the wall.
This one, Teacher?
Oh, don't hurt him, Lady.
I won't, Teacher.
Lady, all creatures are dear to the Lord. That is why even a fly on the wall must not be hurt out of pity for the living.
All creatures, Teacher? Even a spider?
Even a spider. If the spider deserved to die, then the Lord himself would slay him. Lady, there is the pain of all living things, and you and I must pity the living.
Do you see why I know what Teacher once was a little boy? I believe the things that he tells me, only I wish I could ask certain questions. If we were to have pity for the living, why do people slaughter cows and calves and little sheep every day of the week? And not only cows and other animals, but people. Don't men slaughter one another? Don't they ride on horses and whip them and dig in their sharp spurs until blood comes? I have made up my mind. I will never do harm to any living creature. May God punish me if I ever do. Mama, the fish is still alive. His tail is flapping in the water.
Out of my way, lady. The fish has to be prepared for supper.
Mama, the fish wants to go back to the river where he belongs.
Lady, stop that nonsense and get out of my way. There are a million things to do. Instead of standing around and talking, do something useful. Scrape the horseradish.
Yes, Mama. Only, Mama...
Lady!
Yes, Mama. Only it's a pity. It's a pity for the living.
Lady, what are you talking about? Of whom is it a pity?
There's a pity for the little fishes.
Now, who told you that?
The teacher.
The teacher?
Yes, Mama.
Lady, you're a little fool. Your teacher's a big fool. Scrape the horseradish. Go on, scrape the horseradish.
Poor little fish. I'm not able to do anything for you. There you are. They're going to take you and scrape away your scales. They're going to rip you open, cut you in pieces, put you in a pot, cover you with salt and pepper to put you on the fire, let you boil and simmer and simmer and simmer and simmer. Little fish, don't grown-up people have any pity for the living? Can't accept, teacher. Velvo, the poultry butcher, doesn't understand. Do you know what a poultry butcher is? He takes a sharp knife, and he says a blessing, and he kills chickens and roosters.
Be quiet, you little wretch. Lady, stop pulling at me.
Please let him run away. He wants to be free. He wants to live. He wants to talk to the hens and eat corn and drink water. Don't murder him.
I'll give you a spanking in 1 minute. How dare you call me a murderer?
You are.
Go away before I brain you, Levy. I'm not a murderer. I am a butcher. I perform the commandment of the Lord. I speak his blessing. Now get away from me.
Let go of the rooster, you murderer.
Levy, people would go hungry without my work.
You wouldn't.
Levy, don't make me angry. I'm not a murderer. Only a good and learned man is permitted to be a butcher. For instance, a man who cannot hear is not allowed to do the work. Still, I'm explaining about us to the boy.
I don't want to hear your explanation.
I have to tell you. A man who cannot hear is not allowed to do this work, because then he wouldn't hear the cry of pain and he'd become callous to the work. Levy, where are you going?
I hate you. You have no pity for the living. You are a heathen. He put down the rooster, and he spanked me. I didn't care. The rooster got away. I was glad. Without grown-ups, this would be a good world. There's a woman who helps my mother with the cooking. She's blind in one eye. I call her Puma of the One Eye. She has no heart.
You filthy, thieving cat. That'll teach you a lesson. And that, and that, and that.
You shouldn't have beat the cat.
In 1 minute I will beat you.
Puma, you're a wicked woman. What did the cat do to you?
She stole a chicken liver from the board, right from here.
She didn't. There are other chicken livers.
Lady, have more respect for older people. I say the cat stole a chicken liver. I had 7 chickens. There should be 7 chicken livers. Count them. There are only 6 now. Oh, wait till I get my hands on that thieving cat.
Puma.
What do you want?
There are not 7 chickens.
What?
There are only 6 chickens. And if there are only 6 chickens, how can there be more than 6 chicken livers?
Mm-hmm. That's right. There are only 6 at that. Well, I made a mistake.
Come here, Pussy. Come here, cat. I won't hurt you. Oh, good old cat. Puma, you accused the cat wrongly. You punished her. Now apologize.
In the name of the 5 books of Moses, what did you say?
Apologize to the cat. You beat the cat for nothing. You committed a sin. It was a pity for the living. Apologize to the cat.
Out of this kitchen this instant.
The Lord will punish you. Puma, he will.
If you don't go away, I'll give it to you across the face with the towel.
I'm going, but the pain of living will rise straight up into the ear of God. You will be punished.
You little monster, don't you dare say that to me. I'm a pious woman, do you hear? Lord Almighty, where in the world do such children come from?
Where in the world do the grown-ups come from? I do not believe that they were ever children. Not ever. And Puma most of all. She was born a grown-up. She cuts fish up and puts it into a pot. She doesn't apologize to the cat. And yesterday a pot slipped from her hands, and the dog Circle was scalded with boiling water. He moaned and muttered and licked his sores. My heart murdered for the dog Circle. Circle. Don't run away from me. I won't do you any harm, not me. Oh, no, Circle, not me. Don't run away. Good dog. Please don't run away. I'm not grown up. Circle, don't make me chase you. I have pity for the living. Circle, wait, Circle. Circle, I have ointment for your burns.
Levy, stop chasing that dog.
Papa, I want to...
Oh, you little wretch. I saw it with my own eyes. Come here. Come right here. I saw you. And to think that a son of mine would do such a thing.
Papa, he's going to get away.
Oh, you shameless one, you dog beater.
Papa, I'm not a dog beater. I was running after him.
Not another word. Down across my knees.
But, Papa.
Not another word, you dog beater. This will teach you.
Oh.
And this. And this. Be still, you dog beater.
Oh, Papa. Have you no idea of the pain of all living things? There is no justice anyplace. When your own father won't listen to you, there's nothing left in the whole world. I have to take the ointment for the dog and rub it on myself.
Lady, we were all finished and you haven't touched a thing.
Don't talk there.
But a boy has to eat.
He's a dog beater and a crybaby, and I'm thoroughly disgusted with him.
Papa, I'm not a dog beater. I was running after the dog because Fuma the cook still...
And you're a tattletale. I do not like tattletale. You may leave this table. We will sing the grace after meals without you.
Yes, Papa.
And, lady, be careful of your new clothes. I don't want you wandering the fields and soiling them.
Yes, Mama.
Leave the room, lady. You're excused.
I don't like the way he looks. I don't like it at all.
If you please, we will defer all conversation until grace has been sung.
Baruch hu, Baruch Shemo, Baruch atah Adoshem Elokeinu melech olam, Hazones olam, kulo betuvo bechein bechesed uvrachamim,
It isn't very good to have to stand outside a door when grace is being sung. If Papa had ever been a boy himself, he would have realized that. May God keep me from ever being a grown-up. I didn't want to stand and listen. I hated them. They didn't understand. They didn't understand anything. So I went to the teacher's house. But on the way I had to stop because there were two peasant boys, and they were doing a terrible thing.
Give me that rock. I'll show you how. You missed. Now watch me.
Don't throw the rock at the bird's nest.
Beat it. Got it. I can throw, huh?
You killed the birds. They're dead. And you killed them. And you're not even grown-ups.
You know what he's talking about? Me? Nah. He must be sick of something.
Why did you do it? What did they do to you? What harm did they do?
None of your business. Beat it.
Why did you throw the stone? They let you alone. Why did you do it?
You little sissy. They weren't any more than birds. Ordinary little birds.
What if they were birds? Have you no pity for the living?
I take care of them if you want me to.
We'll do it together.
Hey, the little sissy hits back. I'll fix him. Now ain't that a pretty hat?
That's wicked. That's worse than hitting me. My mother made that hat.
Hit back, will you? Hold him. Hold his arm. Here. Now let's see. It's a nice clean shirt. And this jacket. Oh, my, what lovely buttons. You want this button, you little sissy?
Yes, I do.
Here it is, sissy. I'll give it to you.
Here's another button.
Lady.
Yes, Papa?
Come here.
Yes, Papa.
Oh, it's fine new clothes. Oh, Lady.
Sorry they're torn, Mama.
Oh.
My dear Lady, I think you are going to be sorrier in a moment.
How did you get your eye blackened?
There were some birds in a tree.
I see.
And your shirt is in ribbons also because of the bird?
Yes, Papa. It is the pain of all living things.
I'm glad to hear it. Come with me, Levy. We shall reinvestigate the pain of all living things.
Naturally, I got a good beating, which I deserved. Then when Papa was finished, Mama looked at my clothes.
You ragged fool.
I forgave Papa because he beat me. But why did she call me a ragged fool? Why? I am never going to cry again. Never. I have made up my mind. There is no use crying in this world. It doesn't do any good. From now on, I shall have nothing to do with grown-up people.
You may play with me, Lazy. I'm not a grown-up.
Yes, I played with Perla. Because she was a little girl and a cripple who used to be put in the sun and who never harmed anything. Not even a spider.
I like you, Lazy.
I like you, Perla. I do not wish to become grown-up. But if I have to, I shall marry you.
I cannot marry anyone. I can't walk or stand or do anything. I can only sit.
Then we shall sit together.
Like this?
Perla, why are you so skinny?
I don't know, Lazy.
I know. It is because you have pity for the living.
I don't know, Lazy. Is it good to have pity for the living?
I'm not sure anymore.
But you think so?
Yes.
Then I have pity for the living.
Even a chicken?
Yes.
And you will not eat chicken fat smeared on bread?
Mustn't I, Lazy?
Never.
I shall never eat chicken fat smeared on bread. Never.
Then we are engaged, Perla. We are definitely engaged. Every day after that, I would sit in the sun with my Perla. And I explained to her all about the pain of all living things and what the teacher said. When the sun moved, I used to pick her up and carry her. She was very light. She used to put her arms around my neck, and her fingers would touch my face. Her small, skinny little fingers.
I like you, Lazy.
I like you also, Perla. You will be a kind wife. We shall never quarrel. She would hug me closer and closer and rest her head on my shoulder. Every day like that. Then the pogrom started.
Lady, I asked you not to come here.
Papa, I wanted to tell you that our house is still standing. They didn't touch very much.
Send the boy away.
Lady, go home and wait for me.
Papa, what's that?
It's not for children to see.
Papa, who is that?
Lady, please go home. Please.
Papa, who is that? It's someone dead.
They killed her. Poor innocent creature.
Lady, don't look.
I must look, Papa. You don't understand. We were engaged. You see, I'm not crying. I shall never cry again. I told that to Paola. And now I have to keep my promise.
Davy?
Yes, Mama?
I've made you a new suit of clothes.
Thank you, Mama.
Oh, Davy, we must not weep. We must not sin. We must forget. We must forget.
Yes, Mama.
Don't you want to go out and play?
No.
Would you like to help me in the kitchen?
All right, Mama.
Here's some horseradish. You can scrape it if you want to, Davy.
Yes, Mama.
Davy, oh, my little boy, you're crying.
From the horseradish, Mama.
Don't think of her, Davy. You must forget. Forgetting is so good.
It's the horseradish.
Here is my apron. Go on, dry your eyes. Oh, Davy, it's such a pity for the dead. Such a pity for the living. Wipe your eyes. Take my apron and wipe your eyes. And blow your nose, too. Oh, no. Don't cry, Davy. Don't cry, my lady. Hush. Hush.
Because it made her feel good. But grown-ups don't really understand. When grown-ups learn to become as serious as children, then they will understand. First it was a fish, and then it was a rooster, and then a cat, and a dog, and 2 birds in a tree. And then it was Carola. They don't understand. I don't ever want to be a grown-up.
If you would like a free copy of the script you've just heard, write to The Eternal Light, 3080 Broadway, New York, 27, New York. Now, we present Rabbi Simon G. Kramer of the Hebrew Institute of University Heights of New York City. Rabbi Kramer.
Dear friends, in this morning's dramatization of the Sholem Aleichem story, the young boy Levi may well be said to be a representative of the age-old tradition of the Jewish people, whose faith is in a God of whom the psalmist said, "The Lord is good to all, and his tender mercies are over all his works." The Jew has always recognized the quality of mercy as being divine in character. Long before Shakespeare, who wrote of mercy as being an attribute of God, had the Jews been told, "Just as God is merciful, so be thou merciful." God created all the world. Even the least of his creatures deserves mercy. In our dramatization, first it was a fish, then it was a rooster, then a cat and a dog, then birds in a tree, and then it was Perala, a weak and helpless child, all of them in turn victims of cruelty. In this characterization is depicted the striving of the race for the simple qualities that we associate with the term human, as contrasted with the term beast. I don't know of another generation, not even in the dark Middle Ages, not even the generation of Genghis Khan, that can compare in cruelty with our own times. One need only think of the millions of innocent men, women, and children of the Jewish people and of other peoples as well, who were tortured and done to death in the concentration camps of Nazi Germany. One need only think of the callousness of an entire world, who in the early years of the Nazi regime knew what was happening, but did nothing to aid the suffering victims, and to this day is laying stumbling blocks in the path of hundreds of thousands fleeing from this cruelty. Yes, civilization has a great deal to atone for. Perhaps now, 1 year after the war on Germany is over, will the nations of the earth turn humbly to Almighty God and pray for forgiveness. Perhaps the nations will now have a change of heart and a sincere effort on the part of governments and peoples to do justice and to love mercy will lie the salvation of the world.
Thank you, Rabbi Kramer. In answer to queries, we'd like to state that last Sunday's Eternal Light play was based on a story entitled To Conquer the Sea by Rabbi Louis I. Rabinowitz in the Menorah Journal for Winter 1943. It was prepared for radio, as was today's script, by Morton Wishengrad. The music was composed by Morris Momorsky and conducted by Milton Catums. The boy Levi was played by Michael Artist. Cantor David Putterman was the soloist, and the entire production was under the direction of Frank Patt. Today's drama was based on a story by Sholem Aleichem. For a free copy of the script, write to The Eternal Light, 3080 Broadway, New York 27, New York. This program is a weekly presentation of the National Broadcasting Company and its affiliated independent stations in cooperation with the Jewish Theological Seminary of America.
And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Command the children of Israel that they bring unto thee pure oil olive, beaten for the light, to cause the lamps to burn continuously in the tabernacle of the congregation. And there shall be a statute forever in your generations.
The Eternal Light. The National Broadcasting Company and its affiliated independent stations present The Eternal Light, a program which comes to you under the auspices of the Jewish Theological Seminary of America. Our story today, by Morton Wishengrad, is an adaptation of a story by Carl Emil Franzos entitled the Savior of Barnow. Appearing as the cantor is Joe DeSantis. The narrator is Barry Kroger.
La 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 la. Ram tira tai lam tira ram tam tai di dai di dai. Yam tira la 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 dai 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 dai.
I myself play the violin. And who is singing? It is a foolish question. Who else in the town of Barnow can sing like that, if not Mendele Abendstern, the cantor? What would you say if I told you that this same little Mendele, the cantor, once saved us all from losing our lives? You would laugh. Well, I can't blame you. For I must admit that Mendele is a very queer little man. First, Mendele does not know how to walk. He trots. Second, Mendele does not know how to talk. He sings. Third, when he is singing a prayer, does he sing like you or me? Sometimes. But sometimes also he will sing the hymn as if it were a waltz and fidget from one leg to another as if he were a dancer in a theater instead of a cantor in a synagogue. In brief, Mendele Abendstern is a gray-haired man no taller than a child and with the ways and heart of a child. And he saved the lives of the people of Barnow. Go on. Laugh if you want to. I don't mind. Suppose 80 years ago, if you were alive then, you would have come to Mendele in the town of Barnow and asked a reasonable question. Just suppose.
Hello.
Hello.
Can you show me to the rabbi's house?
I can, but I won't.
Well, excuse me.
What for? Do you excuse me?
Well, certainly not.
Then why should I excuse you?
My dear man, I asked a civil question. All I want is to be shown to the rabbi's house.
Why?
I want him to solve an important problem.
Such as?
Do you think you can answer?
Ask.
Very well. My question is, what is a human being?
Very simple.
Then you know the answer?
Naturally. A human being may be compared to a lady's tailor.
To a lady's tailor?
Naturally. A lady's tailor goes on living till he dies. And the same is true of a human being.
That never would have occurred to me. My dear man, what is your name?
The same name as my grandfather.
And what was your grandfather's name?
Same name as mine.
I mean, what do they call you when they summon you to eat?
When food is on the table, no one has to call me. I'm the first one there.
I give up.
You do?
Absolutely.
Then I will tell you. My name is Mendele, and the rabbi's house is across the street. A very good day to you.
There's no point in being irritated with little Mendele. If you're forgotten, I say it once more. He saved us all from a terrible death. Now, there would have been no danger if the agent of our master, Count Bortinsky, had remained alive. The Count lived in Paris, and his agent lived here in Barnow, and was supreme. The agent collected the Count's taxes approximately 58 times during the year, asked for an occasional bribe for himself, stole from us no more than was necessary, and allowed us to live in peace. And little Mendele was the agent's favorite.
Mendele?
Yes, Your Excellency?
My wife has made me promise that I would buy her a fox terrier.
She has?
Oh, not just an ordinary fox terrier. The very best.
No more than right, Your Excellency.
Get me one, Mendele.
Of course, Your Excellency. At once. How much is Your Excellency willing to pay for a good fox terrier?
Mendele, not just good, the best.
Exactly. How much do you wish to pay?
50 crowns.
Impossible.
Mendel, I said 50, not 15.
Your Excellency, I said impossible.
Well, how much then?
At least 100 crowns.
Oh, that's a large sum. Well, all right. Go out and get me the best fox terrier. Only mend in a hurry. I said hurry. What are you standing there for?
Your Excellency.
Well?
Tell me, Your Excellency, what is a fox terrier?
The agent of Count Bortinsky laughed so hard they heard him 6 towns away. The agent was a good-natured man. Unfortunately, he was not long for this world. One day, after a particularly good dinner, this fine man was seized with apoplexy and died. The whole district stood outside the church and mourned for him. First, because we liked him, and second, because who knew what his successor would be like? In time, his successor arrived. Our fears were well grounded. His name was Friedrich Wohlmann. Our first experience with the new agent was at the wedding of Shmuel, the apothecary's son. As usual, at all weddings, Mendele sang, and I played my violin.
You stop on my account, eh? I'm flattered.
Come in, Your Excellency. You are welcome.
Who are you?
They call me Mendele. Will you have some wine, Your Excellency? I assure you, you're welcome.
I am not welcome.
But, Your Excellency, I assure you...
You are wrong. I do not wish to be welcome here. Which one is the apothecary's son?
I am.
Come with me.
This is a wedding feast, Your Excellency. Shmuel is the bridegroom.
I do not speak to you. You, come with me.
Where?
I am not in the habit of being questioned.
I must ask you where I'm to go.
Where I send you.
And that is?
You are insolent, young man.
Where am I to be sent?
Where insolence can be corrected. To the army of His Imperial Majesty, Emperor of Austria.
I wish to see my conscription order.
You do, eh? Here.
This order is blank. No name has been filled in.
Your name is Shmuel. Your second name?
Eisner. Shmuel Eisner.
Consider the blank filled in. Young man, your fists are clenched. I do not like it.
Who do you think you are?
I am the new agent of Count Bortinsky. I am now the sole authority in the district of Barnow. I, Friedrich Wohlmann. I am law. I am justice. I am life or death. Get your things and come.
He was not jesting. He proved it. He disturbed our feasts. He increased our taxes threefold. And he showed by every act that he hated us with a deadly hatred. He oppressed and squeezed us without reason or mercy. Even little Mendele was afraid of him, which was strange, for Mendele was the most timid man in Barnow and therefore the most aggressive. The townspeople of Barnow learned to dread each occasion when a new edict was posted in front of the synagogue.
Mendele, where are you running?
I don't want to see what it says. It's bound to be bad.
Nonsense. Listen, Mendele. This time he doesn't want anything from us. Come back.
He doesn't want anything from us? Are you sure?
You remember the leopard in Count Bortinsky's private menagerie?
Who's talking about leopards?
The notice is. Read it for yourself.
Last night, a leopard belonging to the menagerie of Count Bortinsky escaped from its cage. The district of Barnow is hereby warned. Whoever comes upon the animal is obligated by law to slay it and to notify the undersigned, signed Friedrich Wohlmann, agent. I'm leaving town right away.
Mendele, are you insane?
I'm leaving town this moment. I do not want to be killed.
Good Lord, Mendele, you're not a leopard, you're a canter.
You don't understand. They'll kill me first, and then how am I going to prove I'm not a leopard? Go away.
Mendele, it is I, your friend.
I want no business with Count Portinsky's leopard. Go away.
Mendele, I swear to you, I am not a leopard. Listen, I brought my violin.
What kind of a leopard plays the violin?
Please don't be disappointed, Mendele. I am not a leopard, only a fiddle player.
If you say so, it must be. You're sure?
Positive.
I'm not convinced. Sound G. Now I'm convinced. A leopard would be ashamed to make such a sound. What do you want?
Mendele, have you heard the news?
I knew it all the time.
Huh?
I knew it all the time.
You knew what?
That His Excellency Herr Wollmann was once a member of our faith, and that he forswore his religion.
You knew it?
Only such a man could hate us so much. I guessed it the first day.
Mendele, you astound me. How could you have become so smart?
By obeying my instinct. And my instinct now informs me that there's plenty of trouble waiting for us.
Trouble ahead there was. And little Mendele the cantor saved us from destruction. You must not laugh. I shall relate the events to you. First, you must know that in those days, it wasn't the most pleasant thing in the world to be conscripted as a soldier, especially for the armies of the Tsar of Russia. Why? What a question. Conscription was for 25 years. 25! Therefore, many tried to escape by crossing the border. If a Christian were caught at the frontier, he was merely beaten for several months and restored to the army as soon as his bones had healed. But if one of our faith were caught, and may it never be said of you, he was worse than 6 times dead. Much worse. And so it happened that a fugitive crossed the border, and where should he come but to the town of Barnow?
Please believe me, I didn't object to service in the Tsar's army.
For a non-objector, you come a good distance.
I was ready to serve, even more than 25 years. The first thing they did was to take away my phylacteries and my prayer shawl.
Barbarians. You better not tell me what the second thing was. I have a weak stomach.
Will you hide me here?
Naturally. On the Sabbath we read in the Bible, "Thou shalt not deliver unto his master the servant which is escaped his master unto thee." Hide in the cellar. I will speak to the elders of the congregation. They will know what to do.
I shall waste no time with you. Where is he?
Are you speaking to me, Your Excellency?
I am speaking to all of you. Where is the fugitive? Don't trifle with me. The Russian government has sent a full description to every district in Austria and Hungary.
There are many districts in Austria, Your Excellency.
Not another word from you. Where is the fugitive? I have reason to believe that he is in Barnow. I want him.
Your Excellency, we can tell you nothing.
I said I want him.
Mendele, have you seen the fugitive?
Me? I'm only a cantor. What does a cantor see?
Shut up.
Yes, Your Excellency.
I said shut up.
I'm shutting, Your Excellency.
Shut up! Listen to me, all of you. I have prayed for this. Do you hear? I have prayed for just such an opportunity. You do not know me. You hear? You do not know me. I will find this boy who is hiding here. I'll find him. And then I swear that the congregation of Barnow shall know me. Now go home and pray. Pray hard.
Mendele, I want to ask you a question. Mendele, I want to ask you about...
Why don't you be still? Haven't you caused enough trouble? Who asked you to come here?
Mendele, are you going to give me up?
I'm a very timid man.
I'll go somewhere else.
Without a passport?
What does it matter?
You'll stay here until we find a safer place for you.
Mendele, I thought you said you were a timid man.
I'm a coward. When I meet Herr Wohlmann, my seventh liver flies up to my chest. Now, what did you really want to ask me? You were about to criticize my singing, no doubt.
Mendele, how did you know?
Does anyone ever praise a cantor sings? What was your question?
I was watching you. Mendele, when you sing, why do you cup your hand behind your ear?
I've been doing it for 45 years without knowing why. And now comes a whippersnapper like you and wants to know. Be good enough to hold your tongue. Tomorrow is the Day of Atonement. And whether Herr Wohlmann likes it or not, I, Mendele the cantor, will be in good voice. Hand me the bowl of raw eggs.
When dusk began to fall on the eve of the Day of Atonement, there was a feeling almost of terror in the town of Barnow. The synagogue was bright with wax candles, and the entire congregation hastened there with a broken and contrite heart to confess their sins before God. For at that solemn fast we meet to pray the Judge of all men be gracious to us, and from his mercy to forgive us our trespasses. We assembled in the synagogue, and among us stood the poor fugitive. Little Mendele took his place before the Holy Ark and prepared to sing the first solemn notes of Kol Nidre. There was a hush, and then the awful stillness was broken by a blasphemous sound.
Men, lock every door, seal every window. Let no one out.
He had come. He had come on the holiest of days to desecrate the mercy of God with his sinful anger. Herr Wohlmann faced the congregation as little Mendele drew back in terror. But the elders of the congregation came forward with quiet humility.
My dear sir, if you wish to pray with us, we bid you welcome.
I have not come for prayer. Where is he?
I shall not tell you. Please go. I know that you know what day this is. Please go and allow us to pray in peace.
The young man is here. I want him.
I ask you again, allow us to pray in peace.
Not before you give him up. He's here. I have proof. Very well. I see that kindness has no effect on you. I will stay.
Very well, Your Excellency.
Wait. When the service is over, I arrest him. You understand? And what I do to you and to every man, woman, and child of the congregation of Barnow, you will not soon forget. Now, go on with your prayers. I have time to wait.
We knew it was not an empty threat. But this was Yom Kippur. This was the Day of Atonement. And we were in God's hands and had no fear for ourselves. But little Mendele trembled in every limb. All at once, he drew himself up and began to sing.
Kol Nidre.
Kol Nidre, the ancient, simple melody, which no one who has heard can ever forget. At first, the voice of little Mendele trembled. He sounded weak and quavering. But the words and the melody gave him strength. He filled the edifice with the holy sound. He thrilled the hearts of the worshippers. He rose to the throne of God. Little Mendele never again sang as he sang that evening of Yom Kippur. He was transfigured. No longer was he the absurd little man we had smiled upon. He was a priest of Israel, pleading with God for humanity. In the sound of his voice were unspeakable woes and innumerable tears and unquenchable faith. And something else. Pride. Yes. Pride. And dignity. And courage.
Little Mendele has fainted.
Little Mendele had fallen in the service of God. But that was not all. Herr Rollman had fallen also, in another way. He rose from where he was sitting, his face pale, his knees shaking. Strong man that he was, he could hardly stand. His eyes shone as though through tears, and he tottered down the aisle to the entrance door and gave his soldiers a sign to follow. Everyone guessed what had happened, but no one spoke of it. On the day after Yom Kippur, His Excellency sent for the elders of the congregation and handed them a blank passport for the fugitive. Barely a word was exchanged. It was not a time for words.
Yum tidai lay lum tidai day 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 day. Yum tidai lay lum tidai la lay 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 lay. Yum tidai tay tay lay 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 la 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 la.
Myself, I play the violin, and little Mendele sings. Who else in all the world can sing this way? There's only one answer. Mendele Abendstern, the little cantor of Barnow, the savior of Barnow. And from that day, we no longer smile at Mendele. It was a lesson to us. Let it teach you also. Let it teach you to think twice before saying who is great and who is small, who is weak and who is mighty.
If you would like a free copy of today's script, write to the Eternal Light, 3080 Broadway, New York, 27 New York. And now we present Rabbi Theodore Friedman of the Jackson Heights Jewish Center. Rabbi Friedman.
Win what victories we will on the field of battle or in the arena of life, it is provided in the essence of things that trouble and danger shall never utterly depart from us. The poet of the book of Job knew this when, with finality, he declared, "Man is born to trouble as the sparks fly upward. Into every life there comes the experience that pulling us taut on the rack of peril or difficulty tests the mettle of our being. Under the fierce pressure of circumstance turned desperate, unexpected and wonderful things are revealed. In the testing hour, ordinary, run-of-the-mill men and women put on new and unsuspected strength and rise to heroic heights. Like sudden summer lightning, they blaze across the sky, and their light is never forgotten. Who would have dreamed that Mendele of Barnow, that whimsical clown with the stature of a boy, would, in the decisive hour, stand revealed as the savior of his community? Who would have suspected that when strong men would quail, he would carry on with an unflinching bravery and turned defeat into victory. When the testing hour of humanity came in the war, who would have suspected that there would be hundreds and thousands of Mendelas of Barnow, simple, everyday folk, who would run mortal risks and face nameless fears in order to save hunted men, women, and children from the dread hand of the enemy. True, it took the night to bring out the stars, but thank God for the stars. Always when night falls, we may be confident that here and there, from out of unsuspected places, the brave and generous deed will shine forth. In this day of uncertainty and confusion, it is no small thing to know that all around us there are untapped reservoirs of courage and goodness hiding beneath commonplace exteriors. It gives a man fresh confidence. It braces him for the morrow. But he knows there may be hidden somewheres within him a Mendel of Barnow ready to shine in the day of darkness.
Thank you, Rabbi Friedman. Today's drama was adapted by Morton Wishengrad and based on a story by Carl Emil Franzos entitled The Savior of Barnow. The music was composed by Morris Momorsky and conducted by Milton Catons. The narrator was Barry Kroger, and Mendele was portrayed by Joe DeSantis. Cantor David Putterman was the soloist. The entire production was under the direction of Frank Papp. If you would like a free copy of today's script, write to The Eternal Light, 3080 Broadway, New York, 27, New York. This program is a weekly presentation of the National Broadcasting Company and its affiliated independent stations, and comes to you under the auspices of the Jewish Theological Seminary of America. This is NBC, the National Broadcasting Company.
And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Command the children of Israel that they bring unto thee pure oil olive, beaten for the light, to cause the lamps to burn continually in the tabernacle of the congregation. And it shall be a statute forever in your generation.
The Eternal Light. The National Broadcasting Company and its affiliated independent stations present The Eternal Light, a program which comes to you under the auspices of the Jewish Theological Seminary of America.
This is the week of the festival of Shavuos, the ancient Jewish festival which commemorates the spring wheat harvest of Palestine and the covenant between God and man first set down at Sinai.
Our dramatization today by Morton Wishengrad is a story of hunger. The narrator is Roger DeKoven. Following the dramatic portion of the program, you'll hear a talk by the Director General of UNRWA, Fiorello H. LaGuardia.
There is a guest at my table,
and at yours also. Is his place prepared, and has a chair been put forward for him? He is invisible, yet he is there. He watches. His eyes are big, his belly is bloated. The odor of hunger is about him. And each spoonful that you carry to your lips measures the decay of his hope and covers the streets of your city with the footprints of his blood.
We must come with emotion to the fact. The word is fames, a Latin word signifying hunger. And the subject is famine, for which your emotion must render the human equivalent. Translate hunger into a man, and for famine say instead 500 million men, women, children. 500 million, 1/2 billion. 1 in every 4 upon the face of the earth. Do not be hasty. Speak no words, swear no promises, make no covenants. For the guest at your table is doomed to pursue, but never to overtake. He shall eat and not have enough. And unto you and unto me, and unto the ministers, the priests, the rabbis, the presidents, the kings, the dictators, the legislatures, the assemblies, and the parliaments, unto us all pertaineth the judgment. We must begin with the fact and prove it. There are experts. They have gathered the testimony of the nations.
Of the population of Europe, 100 million people are now subsisting on a daily diet of 1,500 calories or less.
Of the population of Bulgaria, 9%.
Czechoslovakia, 16%.
Romania, 30%.
Spain, 40%.
Finland, 43%.
Hungary, 50%.
Italy, 59%.
Austria, 74%.
Germany, 75%.
The total is 100 million subsisting on a diet of 1,500 calories.
On this diet, a man walks slowly. He cannot run. He is always exhausted.
On this diet, a young boy or girl may possibly grow in height, but he will gain no weight.
Those who receive less than 1,500 calories are not hungry. They are starving.
A daily intake of 1,500 calories represents not enough food to die on, not enough to live on.
Are you impatient with statistics? Perhaps you are wise in your impatience. The figures, the percentages, the multiplications, the numerical comparisons, they are all a trick. Nothing more or less than the device of the expert to shield the fact from your emotion. Yes, there is a great difference between actuarial death and actual death. One is merely a cipher. The other is flesh. Let us consider the flesh. The flesh of Asia.
Famine in China.
Already dead of starvation, 4 million.
Unless help is quickly forthcoming, you may write off 30 to 40 million Chinese by the end of the year.
Famine in India.
In 1943, a famine year, 500,000 died.
It is variously estimated that an additional 10 to 20 millions will die.
Be careful, this is still another trick. The word million, beware of it. You're not expected to comprehend it. 1 man is your brother. 1 man who knows wetness, cold, pain, the affection of youth, the love of his espousals, the first fruit of marriage. This you know and understand. But 1 million is nothing or less than nothing. I understand 1 man. I do not understand 1 million men. 1 man is a Muslim, Buddhist, a Christian, a Jew. He is a mystic, an agnostic, an atheist. His skin is black, yellow, white. He was conceived in the womb as I was conceived. He breathes the air I breathe. He dies as I will die. I understand 1 man. I do not understand 1 million men. And not understanding 1 million, how should you and I understand 500 million? Allow
Now the expert, his conclusion.
The famine emergency will not pass this summer. It will not even pass next summer. We face 5 years of famine. These are the dry and barren statistics of catastrophe.
The dry and barren statistics of catastrophe. But his is not finished.
I have read the reports of the investigating commissions. They are founded on a deplorable error. The food quotas proposed are too low. The famine countries need more than food for minimum life. They need food for work. That's the problem facing us.
Why? How? When? Ask the questions. Why? Why is war? How? How is the missing farmer buried in a soldier's uniform? How is rainless skies and parched fields? How is sterile soil lacking fertilizer, lacking seed, lacking the plow and the tractor? When? When is now? Why and how and when? Oh, there are many questions and many entrances, and only one door to go out. And how does a child or a woman or a man go through that door? The gnawing sensation of the upper abdomen, the tissue wasted, the fat consumed of itself, the restlessness of the mind, the languor, the lassitude, the numbing faintness, and the blessed end of all sensation in the land of thick darkness. Yet it takes a long time to starve to death. And there is still a guest at the table. And he, too, asks the question.
We were promised food with victory.
I remember.
Why weren't you prepared?
We didn't expect the war to last so long.
Why wasn't the food accumulated and saved?
We didn't expect the war to be over so soon.
The question is true, the answer is true, the true and lunatic answer for the lunatic time in which the nations were prepared neither for death nor for life. Do not search for villains, there are no villains. There are only 500 million hungry. And for them, our feasts, our new moons, our Sabbaths, and our seasons are a steady time appointed for the contractions of the stomach. For all this, there is an explanation. The first, war and the payment of war. The second is drought. The worst drought in modern history. And the drought came with war. Drought in
Australia,
China, North Africa,
the Danube Basin,
South Africa, the Ukraine.
While Winston Churchill was saying that war dragged a hot rake up Italy, fields were parched in the grainlands of the world. And with drought came hurricane and typhoon and tidal wave. The doom of the rice harvest in Burma, in India, in Indochina, and Siam. Explain this to the guest at the table, but he will not hear. He is no longer a reasonable man. Cause and effect have no logic for him. He is a man obsessed, fanatic, perverted by the fantasy of food. Explain other causes, other effects. Explain to him the tragedy of Holland. A farmer standing in a desolate field.
Feel this soil.
This?
Take it in your hand.
Doesn't feel like soil, it's more like dough.
Yes. Spongy like dough. Out there, beyond, there are the dikes. When the Nazi invaded, we broke the dikes. 200 years to reclaim this land from the sea. 2 minutes to explode the dikes and let the sea come back.
The salt sea. The salt sea which transformed the fertile lowlands of Holland into sterile, viscous muck.
It will take years before the salt will wash out. The land can't feed us now.
Agricultural consequence of war. Repeat this in China, in Hubei province, in Guangxi, Guangdong, Huizhou. 2 million acres of rich soil flooding from the Yellow River to keep the Japanese back. 2 million acres which fed 3 million people. And 3 million people now in the valley of the Yellow River who eat clay. Leave China, return to Europe. Poland. Poland is a good example. Looks like rain.
Yes.
Good for the land.
Sure.
Your potatoes in the ground?
No potatoes. We eat the seed potatoes.
How can you do that? That's agricultural suicide.
Yes.
You're a farmer, aren't you?
I am a farmer. Also a father. We eat the seed potatoes. The children have nothing else.
In 1 month, in 2 months, he will also be a guest at your table. He and his wife and his children. They are not alone. Seed potatoes in Poland, seed wheat in France, seed rice in India, and a winter harvest of famine. This is the biological consequence of war. This is the erosion of human life. This is the book of Jeremiah. It is a land of deserts and drought, where none passes through and no man dwells. These are the men and women and children left with nothing but their eyes to weep with. Listen. This is the mayor of the Yugoslav city of Vlasnica. Our children eat every other day. He has nothing else to say. Ask him a question. For example, ask how old this child is. He's 14 years old. You must be mistaken. This boy is hardly 8 or 9. He is my own son. He is 14 years old. There are no more questions. He is a guest at the table. Also, ask no questions of the teacher in this French schoolhouse.
Les enfants, écoutez, j'ai faim. Avez-vous du pain? Alors, continuons.
He is too weak to teach. They are too weak to learn.
Doctor, my little girl does not see.
How many fingers, little girl?
An incident in Greece, any city.
How many fingers, little girl?
Doctor, she does not see.
Well, don't worry. Not permanent blindness. Merely a deficiency of vitamin A. Feed her milk. Well, for heaven's sake, stop looking at me. What do you want me to do?
If he were not so hungry, he might apologize later, but he does not apologize. He knows his own symptoms. The physiological irritation of hunger. Let us proceed. At least here in this place, there are no emaciated scarecrows.
They look rather plump and well fed, don't they? It's dropsy. Famine dropsy. Hungeredema, if you want to be fancy. The body fluid escapes through the blood vessels into the tissues. And don't be taken in by the rosy cheeks. That's tuberculosis.
Biological consequence of war. And for those who have transgressed the covenants of biology, there are new synonyms. The synonym for Romania is pellagra. The synonym for many districts in Italy is a garbage can scraped clean. There are few pleasant recitals in the Europe of 1946. If this is hard listening for you, believe that it is hard telling for me. But for them, it is harder still. And for the mothers in civilized Europe, it is hardest of all. In Poland, of every 1,000 births, this happens 250 times.
I want to see my wife.
Not now, please.
Let me in. Please.
She doesn't want to see you.
She's my wife, isn't she? Anna.
She doesn't want to talk to you.
Anna. In God's name, is it my fault that the baby was born dead?
Better that there should be no birth, and none with child, and no conception.
Anna, you don't know what you're saying. I will go and pray for you.
The altar is covered with thorns and with thistles. Say to the mountains, cover us, and to the hills, fall upon us.
In Poland, of every 1,000 babies born, 250 babies die. And those who do not die make the peculiar sound of children who are hungry. They shall say to the mountains, cover us, and to the hills, fall upon us. These are the facts. These are the partial facts of catastrophe. Only the partial facts. But the answer must be full and complete. Are there answers to give? Yes, there are answers. There is the statement and the action of the Director General of UNRWA, Fiorello H. LaGuardia.
From this point on, the protocol is off. It is food that we need. People are crying for bread, not advice. I want plows, not typewriters. The people need relief, not sympathy. I want fast-moving ships, not slow-moving resolutions. The people in our own country learned during the Depression that ticker tape ain't spaghetti.
The guest is at the table. Has the place been prepared for him? And what shall be prepared?
Bread, fats, milk for the people. Fertilizer, seed, draft animals, farm machinery for the land.
The land and the people, 500 million hungry people, 500 million, one of every 4 on the face of the earth. The guest at the table. Yes, the guest is at the table. He is invisible and he has no voice for speech, but he is there. And his silence is a warning. His silence is a prophecy. It takes a long time to starve to death, but death from disease is swift. And there will be disease. There is always disease. First rides war, and then famine rides, and after famine, the pestilence follows.
Pellagra.
Beriberi.
Diphtheria.
Scarlet fever.
Tuberculosis.
Influenza.
Typhus.
Cholera.
Plague.
Epidemic dysentery.
The pestilence is come. And it will not be content to stay where it is. It will move. It will not ask your permission nor stop at the consulates for entry visas or tourist permits. Disease carries no passports. You cannot exorcise it with an immigration quota. We return now to the fact of our emotion. The word is fames, a Latin word signifying hunger. And the subject is famine. And the subject is also the biblical verse. Sow to yourselves according to righteousness. Reap according to mercy. You and I cannot reject that text. It is written upon our eyes. But eyes can only see, and hands must do. The time is now, and now is very late. They faint in the streets. They walk with the tread of mourners at their own funerals. They suspend on the margin of life. One more season of drought, another succession of bad harvests, and they are dead. Dead in the tens of millions. It is a race. And for better or for worse, rightly or wrongly, we in America are the runners. They cannot come to meet us. We must go to them. And our hands dare not be empty. Sow to yourselves according to righteousness. Reap according to mercy.
Thank you, Roger de Koven. If you would like a free copy of the script you've just heard, write to the Eternal Light, 3080 Broadway, New York, 27, New York. And now, we present the Director General of the United Nations Relief and Rehabilitation Administration, Mr. Fiorello H. LaGuardia.
Yes, it is a race between carrying on God's will against the destruction and devastation of cruel, greedy, selfish men. We are going to them, and not with empty hands. It is more blessed to give than to receive. Thanks, Yeshiva, for that message. It came from a people with over 5,000 years of civilization, culture, and wisdom. From a people with over 2,000 years of persecution and discrimination, who have learned how to suffer and who understand. The narrative that you've just heard is not an overstatement, and I'm in a position to tell you that. For daily, yes, hourly, come to my desk reports from UNRWA missions in all parts of the world. March, April, May shipments were far below. The food wasn't available. We had hoped to catch up in the latter part of May, but interruption of transportation and weather conditions beyond our control slowed us up. June arrivals of bread grains will be several 100,000 tons below minimum requirements. So that the cruel statistics that you've just heard are way above that which the people will actually get in the month of June. But we are rushing these shipments if we have no interruption in transportation. And let us hope that there will be none. Most of the countries mentioned are living from day to day, verily, from hand to mouth. There are only a few days stock on hand. That is because of shortage month after month. And the condition in China is simply beyond description. We need your support and we need your understanding. And what is more, now that we are doing so much, let us do it graciously. And let us not take from what the overwhelming majority of the American people want. To help these people, let not a small minority spoil it all by their grudging, by their grousing, by their complaining. God has given us so much in our country. We're blessed with abundance. That is why we give more, because we have more to give. We cannot be happy in an unhappy world. We do not want to see people die of hunger. We are called upon to carry on God's will. And God saw everything that he had made, and behold, it was very good. We must not let that be destroyed.
Thank you, Mr. LaGuardian. The Eternal Light is written by Morton Wishengrad. The music is composed by Morris Mamorsky and conducted by Milton Catons. The liturgical introduction was sung by Cantor David Potterman. Featured as the narrator was Roger DeKoven. The entire production was under the direction of Frank Papp. If you would like a free copy of today's script, including the talk of UNRWA Director General LaGuardia, write to The Eternal Light, 3080 Broadway, New York, 27 New York. I shall repeat the address, 3080 Broadway, New York, 27 New York. This program is a presentation of the National Broadcasting Company and its affiliated independent stations in cooperation with the Jewish Theological Seminary of America. This is NBC, the National Broadcasting Company.
And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Command the children of Israel that they bring unto thee pure oil olive, beaten for the light, to cause the lamps to burn continually in the tabernacle of the congregation. And it shall be a statute forever in your generation.
The Eternal Light. The National Broadcasting Company and its affiliated independent stations present The Eternal Light, a program which comes to you under the auspices of the Jewish Theological Seminary of America. Our drama today, adapted to radio by Morton Wishengrad, is entitled The Scroll on the Doorpost. It is based upon a true story, The Mezuzah, written by Rabbi Leo Trepp, which appeared in the magazine Liberal Judaism. Featured as the narrator is Barry Kroger.
I do not know what songs you sing for those whom you have loved, but I shall sing Sim Shalom Tova Ubracha Ken Vahesed Vachamim. Grant peace, blessing, and mercy to us and all Israel. Bless us, O our Father, with the light of thy countenance. There is a symbol on the doorpost of my house. It's only a little wooden case containing a scroll of parchment inscribed with a biblical verse, and it's called a mezuzah. Now it's a little dirty and scratched and somewhat weather-beaten. But for me it has a large significance, for it is a remembrance of familiar friends and departed parents, and it is a token of my heritage. It is not an ordinary mezuzah. It has a story which began happily in the city of Mainz in Germany. It was 17 years ago, and the year was 1929. And I saw this mezuzah for the first time in the shop of Herr Goldmann. I was a boy then, and I think my father was rather proud of me.
Leo, pick whatever mezuzah you want. The choice is up to you, isn't it, Herr Goldmann?
Naturally. Your father has just bought a fine new house, and his son will select a fine new mezuzah.
Herr Goldmann, I like this one.
Not a bad choice. The case is Palestinian wood.
I want it, Father.
You heard him, Herr Goldmann. Take it out of the showcase.
Oh, not just yet, Leo. How do I know you'll treat it properly?
I shall take some small nails and nail it to the doorpost of my father's house. Now, may I have it?
Wait, the test isn't over. Where do you nail it?
Father, he's teasing me. I'm not a baby. I know about such things. I'll nail it to the upper part of the right-hand doorpost.
Why?
Because that is the custom.
Why?
I'm not in school, Herr Goldmann.
Why, Leo? Why the custom?
Because it is written in the Bible, and thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy might, Father, I forget the next part.
And these words thou shalt teach diligently unto thy children, and shalt talk of them when thou sittest in thy house.
And when thou walkest by the way, and when thou liest down, and when thou risest up. And thou shalt write them upon the doorposts of thy house, and upon thy gates. Now, will you give it to me, Herr Goldmann?
Only if you promise.
Promise what?
That whenever you touch the mezuzah, your hands will be clean.
I promise.
Not just soap and water clean. Cleaner than that. The cleanliness of goodness.
I promise, Herr Goldmann. Here's the money.
No. Let the mezuzah be my gift to you and your father and mother. Affix it to the doorpost of your house, and may your coming in be good and your going out be good. Now go on. Run along before I change my mind.
From the beginning, we knew that this was not an ordinary mezuzah. Didn't the case come from Palestine? And weren't the 22 lines written on the parchment scroll inside perfect and without a blemish? I stood on a chair, and I nailed it to the doorpost of my father's house, slanting it just the right way. My father beamed at me, and then he told me for the 100th time of the noble tradition of our people in the city of Mainz.
Hundreds of years ago, the great Rashi lived here, and here he studied and taught. Here thousands sealed their faith with their blood. But, Leo, those times are over. Bless God that we live in a civilized age, and men are no longer harmed because of their religion.
The words are not without irony, are they? It was only a few years later that we discovered the irony. My father's friend, Heinz, had come to our house, and he was disturbed.
You hear that?
I hear it, Heinz.
It's a rotten sound.
It will pass, Heinz.
I can't stand it. Shut the window.
That better?
I must tell you something. My son is out there with them. He's marching.
Some tobacco, Heinz. Stop fretting. It will pass.
How do you know?
It always has.
This time it's different. They mean business.
Because a few adolescents like your son are taught foolish things?
You don't understand. They've got the young people. They're getting men like me. In the last month, 3 men called at my shop with an application blank for the party.
Did you sign?
Where's that tobacco you were talking about?
It's here, under your nose. You did sign, didn't you?
I have some advice for you.
All right, Heinz.
That thing you've got on the door, take it down.
Why?
It's a dead giveaway. It's a proclamation that this is a Jewish house. Remove it.
No, Heinz. Mezuzah will stay where it is.
What's this idiotic attachment to an amulet?
It's not a good luck charm, Heinz. It's a sign that people in this house try to remember that nothing human is foreign to God.
You won't take it down?
No, Heinz.
Anything you say, my friend. It isn't my funeral.
Many times after that, I saw my father staring at the mezuzah. The sound of marching was louder in the street now, and continual. But my father raised his hand to the mezuzah only to touch it, and to utter the blessing.
May God keep my going out and my coming in from now and evermore.
My father was answering Heinz, who had been his friend. There are some men who are less stubborn to save their lives than their convictions. They're not heroes, they're undistinguished men whom you'd never notice. They're men like my father, and many of them have died upon a symbol. In the autumn of 1938, after the Czechoslovakian crisis, the concentration camps began to fill. I went with my father to the shop of Herr Goldman.
How are things?
How do you expect?
I don't know anymore, Herr Goldman.
Do you remember Mendelssohn? He was a good customer. He used to buy a book every week. He probably read it, too. He's dead.
That's too bad.
Is it? They came to take him to the concentration camp. He killed himself. Do you know what my wife said when I told her? She said, well, why shouldn't he try to better himself?
It was a melancholy jest, and a bad one, but it spread, and people laughed at it with the laughter of men on the gallows. My father didn't laugh. He came home and studied the mezuzah on our doorpost. And I remember what my mother said.
You're becoming sentimental about it.
What if I am?
It's just a wooden case with a few lines of scripture in it. Stop staring at it.
It's staring back.
You ought to take it down, then.
No, I'm afraid to take it down. If it comes down, in a way, I come down.
Then make up your mind.
I never changed it. My mind is the same. It's only that my knees shake a little now and then.
I should like to see your husband.
Heinz?
How are you? It's been a long time.
He's gone to the synagogue.
Where's Leo?
With his father.
Sit down if you don't mind.
I mind.
You're not very hospitable.
No.
You blame me for joining the party.
No. You did it to save your skin.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that. Your skin would wear a whole lot longer if you took that mezuzah down from the door.
Is that why you came?
Yes. They wouldn't like it if they knew I came. You see, I'm better than you think. You might say something.
Heinz, why did you really come?
You ought to trust me more.
Why did you come, Heinz?
All right. I hold a note against your husband signed when he bought the house. He pays interest regularly, but now I'd like the principal back.
Why, Heinz? Is he a bad risk?
Well, that's a rhetorical question.
You're saying a good deal more than you intend. Something is ready to happen, isn't it, Heinz?
There's going to be trouble. A good deal of trouble.
Thanks for telling me.
That's the first civil word you've spoken. Tell your husband what I said about the mezuzah. If it remains, they won't miss this house when the trouble begins.
Thanks again.
You see, I'm not a monster. I'm a man. I've got 2 eyes, 2 lungs, a nose, a mouth, 2 arms, 10 fingers. I've got a heart, too.
I know, Heinz. You've got a heart. Only right now it's a little weak.
Well, do we take it down or don't we? What do you say, Leo?
The verse in Scripture reads, "And thou shalt write them upon the doorposts of thy house." I wish it said on the doorposts of thy heart.
It means that. Do we take it down? What do you say, Mother?
In time of danger, it's permitted. I want to live with you a long time.
All right. I'll take the mezuzah down.
But I want to respect you also.
You can still respect me when it's down.
Will you respect yourself?
I can't be sure. Heinz joined the party. He changed. I don't think I want to change. I can only stay joined to what I am and what my father was.
Leo, give me a screwdriver.
You're going to take it down?
Yes.
Leo, give your mother the screwdriver.
Thank you, Leo. Will you open the door for me? I can't do it. I can't. I want to, but I can't. Senseless. I don't even have enough courage to be a coward. It's crazy. And what's going to happen now?
It happened on November 9th, 1938. Schools were closed early to permit the children to enjoy the spectacle of Jewish homes broken, Jewish shops looted, and 500 synagogues throughout Germany and Austria simultaneously bombed and set afire.
Fireman, why don't you try to stop it? Turn your hose on the synagogue.
I've got orders.
You're a fireman. You can't let it burn.
I've got orders. You see that nothing else catches fire. The synagogue burns. Now move back. Back of the line.
Herr Goldman, where are you going?
I'm going to pray. Let me through.
Help me with him, somebody. He's lost his mind.
Let me through. It's time for evening prayers. I have to pray. I have to pray in the synagogue.
Herr Goldman, the synagogue is burning. Somebody help me.
It's time for prayers.
Herr Goldman, the building is in
A
flames.
burning synagogue is also a house of God. Let go. Don't hold me back. I'm going to pray. Come, everyone. It's time for evening prayer.
Herr Goldman, come back. Come back. Herr Goldman, come back.
He did not come back. He died in the flames. And his words were, "Eine brennende Synagoge ist auch in Gottes Haus." A burning synagogue is also a house of God. My father came home.
Leo, you will remember this. Only take heed to thyself, and keep thy soul diligently, lest thou forget the things which thine eyes saw. Now pack your things.
What for?
He leaves Germany today, tonight, as soon as I make the arrangements.
Don't ask me to do that.
I'm not asking, I'm ordering you. I've spoken to Heinz. He'll help. He's not a murderer. He's only a weakling who assists the murderers by remaining silent. He's ashamed. He'll help. Now pack your things.
You come too. You and Mother.
We can't. One can escape. 3 will be caught. Leo, do as I say. This is the jungle. Even the beasts save their young. Collect your things.
Is he ready?
He's coming, Heinz.
You're right. As soon as you reach America.
Mother, what gives me the right to leave without you?
You're young. We're old. There's your right.
Leo, you'll have to be quick. It's dangerous to wait.
Leo, don't worry about us. We'll manage.
Goodbye.
I touched the mezuzah for you, Leo. May God keep your going out and your coming in from now and evermore.
There it is. One mezuzah still remains. One is going. Come on, Leo. You're going.
In the darkness of the night, I touched the mezuzah in my father's house one final time. And then I left for America. Now the only thread to my youth and to my heritage were the letters which came from them. In 1939 and in 1940, they would each write separately to me. And then, in 1941, I received only one letter.
Leo, you will go to the synagogue and say the mourner's Kaddish for your father. He is buried in the old cemetery of Mainz. They permitted that. They let me see him before he died. I'm glad for him. We found a Sefer Torah that had not been burned. We placed it in his coffin. May it give him comfort. You must not worry about me. I am safe and well, but living in another house. I wanted to take down the mezuzah, but things haven't changed. I still can't do it. He wanted it there, and so I leave it there. It will not come down, just as your father never came down. Don't worry about me, Leo. My greatest consolation is the knowledge of your safety.
In 1942, the Red Cross forwarded a few more letters. Then there were no more letters from my mother. Only silence and emptiness.
I'm awfully sorry, but the Red Cross reports no word yet of your mother.
Don't lose hope. It's a matter of weeks before an Allied army reaches Mainz. Something may turn up.
We've cabled the army chaplain who reached Mainz yesterday. You can expect word this week.
It looks bad, but why don't you write to the chaplain himself? I'm sure he'll do whatever he can.
I wrote to the chaplain asking him to do three things. To find out what had happened to my mother, to see if my father's grave was still there, and to say a little prayer on my behalf. I didn't know the chaplain. He had more important things, but the answers came. Hello?
Hello, this is the Jewish Welfare Board. We've just received a message from Chaplain Saperstein, stationed in Mainz. Shall I read it?
Yes, please.
After several days of inquiry, I've been able only to ascertain that your mother was deported in 1942. None of those deported with her has been heard from. I can't tell you how sorry I am. I have seen your father's grave. It is well cared for now. Your house was completely demolished in the course of the bombing of Mainz. Only a portion of the front wall remained. I will send you further details.
Is that all?
Yes, that's all.
Package for you. Sign here, please.
Here?
The line below.
My pencil. Oh, sorry.
Oh, what's the matter? Something wrong?
No, nothing.
For a minute, I thought. Oh, war souvenir, huh?
Yes, a very long war. It's a mezuzah.
Sort of scratched up, ain't it? Whatever it is.
Yes, it is.
What's it mean?
It means, only take heed to thyself, and keep thy soul diligently, lest thou forget the things which thine eyes saw, and lest thou depart from thy heart all the days of thy life.
Shalom, tova uvracha, chen vachem.
do not know what songs you sing for those you have loved, but I shall sing Sim Shalom. Grant peace and mercy to us. Bless us, O our Father, with the light of thy countenance. It's only a mezuzah, a scroll on the doorpost, a little wooden case containing a bit of parchment inscribed with 22 scriptural lines. It's a little dirty now, scratched and beaten by the years, but it's indestructible. European Jewry is decimated. Its homes have been harrowed by fire, its synagogues destroyed. But its spirit, in the symbol of this mezuzah, survives. An American chaplain has reclaimed it from the ruins and sent it to the New World. He's done so in a spirit of great love. Thus, you and I have become the heirs to a great spiritual heritage. Ours is the task of protecting it. But ours also will be the protection which Judaism gives us in times of great crisis.
If you would like a free copy of the script you've just heard, write to the Eternal Light, 3080 Broadway, New York, 27, New York. And now, we present Rabbi Abraham Dubin of the Temple Gates of Prayer of Flushing, New York. Rabbi Dubin.
The mezuzah has been sent to the New World. The mezuzah, symbol of Jewish faith, symbol of Jewish tradition, the longest that has survived into the modern world, has been brought to America. The mezuzah, emblem of the history of the Jews, the most painful and most heroic history recorded in the annals of man. Spiritual ornament of Jewish home life. That home life that kept up the poise and mental balance of the Jew, living in a world woefully unbalanced and tragically discordant. The mezuzah, symbol of Jewish deathlessness. This mezuzah has now been brought to our country. It has been cast into the lap of the Jew in America. The American Jew, who only yesterday was the youngest among the brethren in Israel, has now become the head of the Jewish family. 6 million of the best sons and daughters of our people have been cruelly done to death. These centuries-old spiritual and intellectual reservoirs of Israel have been destroyed. The synagogues, the schools, the yeshivos, the academies have been bombed to bits. The students, the scholars, the libraries, the books have been scattered, torn, and burnt up. These are no more. That which has fallen is more than that which remains. Standing, the spirit of the Jew is still unbeaten. We have faith in our power of survival. We have faith in the heroic quality of our people's destiny. We have faith in the inherent worth and dignity of Jewish life. The American Jew must nurture this faith. We must rise to the emergency and need of the hour. We must keep burning this unquenchable will to live. We must take up this mezuzah, symbol of Israel's aspiration and spirituality, and make it bless our community, our home, our children, ourselves. America must now become the sanctuary of Israel's Torah. It must become the home of Jewish scholarship, the academy of Jewish culture and thought and literature. History has taken hold of the youngest son in the family of Israel. History is demanding of the American Jew that he create here, in this blessed land of liberty and opportunity, that Jewish religion and culture and literature, that he build here that Jewish life which has made the Jew invincible and eternal, which has kept the Jew a solid rock amidst the changing and defying waves of time. History is calling to us to hold high the flaming torch. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom need I fear? The Lord is the strength of my life. Of whom need I be afraid? And thou shalt write them upon the doorposts of thine house, and upon thy gates.
Thank you, Rabbi Dubin. Today's Eternal Light play was adapted for radio by Morton Wishengrad. It was based on a story, The Mezuzah, by Rabbi Leo Trepp, and appeared in Liberal Judaism magazine, official organ of the Union of American Hebrew Congregations. The music was composed by Morris Momorsky and conducted by Milton Katams. The soloist was Cantor David Putterman, and the narrator was Barry Kroger. The entire production was under the direction of Frank Paff. For a free copy of the script, write to the Eternal Light, 3080 Broadway, New York, 27 New York. This program is a weekly presentation of the National Broadcasting Company and its affiliated independent stations, and comes to you under the auspices of the Jewish Theological Seminary of America. This is NBC, the National Broadcasting Company.
And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Command the children of Israel that they bring unto thee pure oil olive, beaten for the light, to cause the lamps to burn continually in the tabernacle of the congregation. And it shall be a statute forever in your generations.
The Eternal Light. The National Broadcasting Company and its affiliated independent stations present The Eternal Light, a program which comes to you under the auspices of the Jewish Theological Seminary of America. Our drama today, by Morton Wishengrad, is entitled Pursuit of New Clothes, and is based upon the Hebrew story Tis Chadesh by David Frischman. Listen now to Alexander Scourby as the narrator and to Michael Artist as the boy Ephraim.
Turn to the book of Psalms, to the 9th chapter, to the 19th verse, and read, For the needy shall not always be forgotten, nor the expectation of the poor perish forever. I will tell you the story of a boy called Ephraim, who was the son of a poor tailor. Do not grieve over his story or allow your spirits to be saddened, for after all, he was only the poor son of a poor tailor, and it doesn't matter, does it? It was the time of the Purim festival, and the song was Shoshanas Yaakov, and the words were, Israel rejoiced upon seeing Mordecai dressed in robes of purple. It should be a glad song, but the tailor was poor and his son was poor, and so in their house the melody was plaintive. The little boy Ephraim listened to his father, and his face as he listened was pale, as it was always pale, and his eyes were large, as they were always large. The boy sat and listened, and he shivered a bit because the song was so beautiful.
Papa, will you make a suit of new clothes for me?
I would like to, Ephraim.
Will you, Papa? I'll stand very quietly. You can measure me.
All right, Ephraim. I'll measure you. Right now. Come here.
I've gotten bigger, haven't I, Papa?
Yes, much bigger.
Papa, you forgot to measure my arms.
How could I forget such a thing? The left one. There. So. Now, lower it. Now the right one. You see, I'm writing it down so that I don't forget.
When will my new suit be ready, Papa?
Just as soon as I buy the cloth.
And when will that be?
Oh, soon. Very soon, Ephraim.
I shall stand very straight in my new suit of clothes. When we go to the synagogue, all my friends will say, Ephraim, what a fine suit of clothes. Tis Chadesh, they will say. Tis Chadesh, Ephraim, wear it well.
It was a little game the tailor played with his son. Before each festival, they would plan a new suit of clothes for Ephraim. But somehow there were never any pennies to buy the cloth. And so at night, when Ephraim was sleeping, his father would pick up the patched little trousers and mend a frayed knee or put another stitch in a small seam. And sometimes the boy would awaken and he would see his father. Then he would call to him.
Papa, you're very tired. Come to sleep.
I have a little work to do. Besides, I'm not sleepy.
I'm not sleepy either. Papa, tell me a story.
Same one?
The same one, Papa.
All right. Close your eyes, Ephraim. Very tight.
I'm squeezing.
Once upon a time, there was a little boy. And very strange to say, he had never been taught how to read.
Papa, I try to imagine a boy who cannot read, but I never can.
Well, this little boy really couldn't read because no one had taught him. And so, on the great festivals, he would stand and watch the people praying in the synagogue. But he could not pray himself.
Because he didn't know how to read.
Yes. So he found a prayer book, and he went up to the altar, and he raised his face, and he said, O Lord my God, I do not know how to read, and I cannot pray to you. But here in this book are the words of prayer. I open the book to you, O Lord. Choose whichever prayer you like best, and let it be mine.
God liked that, didn't he, Papa?
Oh, yes, Ephraim. It was the best prayer ever made.
Do you know something? I think that boy must be my size. When you make my suit of new clothes, I shall give it to him. And I will say, Tis Kadesh, little boy. Wear it well.
Purim came again, but Ephraim did not have a new suit of clothes. All day the tailor would sew fine clothes for other people, but never clothes for himself or his son. For he was poor, and cloth was very dear. On the evenings of the festivals, the tailor and his son would work almost until dusk, and then hurriedly they would wash their faces and come to the synagogue, where there was light and happiness and rest. Ephraim would hear the sound of new clothes rustling and the sound of the stiff lining underneath, and his face was very pale and his eyes large, as they were always large. Then Ephraim and his father would go home together and divide a slice of bread for the holiday meal.
Papa, all the boys in the synagogue said Tis Kadesh to one another.
Did they?
Yes. They all had new clothes. Why don't the boys ever say Tis Kadesh to me?
You do not say Tis Kadesh to someone who doesn't wear a new garment.
Then no one will ever say it to me?
Oh, that isn't true.
No one ever has. All my life, no one has ever said Tis Kadesh to me.
Just wait and see. I've got my eye on a remnant of cloth. Why, it must be all of 2.5 yards. You'll see, Ephraim. Just wait and see. Just wait.
Ephraim waited,
as he had always waited. His eyes were large as they were always large, and he began to dream as he always dreamed.
Hello, Ephraim.
Who are you?
I am a needle that sews.
Then why aren't you sewing?
I am sewing. Can't you see?
No, I can't see. I can't see anything at all.
Ephraim, touch me. I'm a bolt of cloth.
I can't see you. I can hear you. I can always hear you. But I never see you.
I am very fine cloth. It's a pity. The cloth is for your new suit.
Try it on, Ephraim. It's finished.
Where? Please show me where it is. I can't see it.
Ephraim stopped dreaming, and he waited. There are people on the face of the earth who never have a new garment. There are people who always live on the side of the street where the sun does not shine. Ephraim did not know this. Awake and sleeping, he dreamed. And always the dream was the same. After school some days, he sat beside his father and sewed other boys' clothes, and the cloth in his hand, not the needle, but the cloth seemed to pierce his flesh. One day, a man came to his father's shop.
I want a suit made. I brought the cloth.
This?
It's fine cloth, isn't it?
Yes, it's fine, but there's hardly enough for you.
It isn't for me, it's for my son. Next Friday is his birthday. I want the suit to be a surprise.
How tall is your son?
About up to, let's see, ask your boy to stand up.
Put your needle down, Ephraim. Stand up.
Yes, your boy is skinnier, but they're the same height, all right. Can you do it, Taylor?
I think so.
And you'll have it for me before next Friday?
My son will deliver it himself.
That's wonderful. I can't wait to see the look on my boy's face when he puts his new clothes on.
And you'll say, Tis Chadesh?
Well, of course. Everyone says, wear it well for a new suit of clothes. Don't you? I don't like to deal with people who don't keep their word to me.
But I don't understand. I've kept my word.
You have not.
But I have. The suit was finished last night and delivered this morning.
That's a falsehood.
It isn't. It's the truth. Ephraim left with the suit more than an hour ago.
Taylor, I despise people who lie. Why don't you tell the truth?
It is the truth. Ephraim left with the suit more than an hour ago.
Then he stole it.
You've called me a liar. Now you call my son a thief.
Of course he's a thief. What's that?
I don't know, I'm sure.
It sounded as though it came from the attic. Someone is there.
Ephraim? Is that you, Ephraim? Ephraim!
Yes, Papa?
Do you see? Come down, you little thief.
Ephraim, come down.
In 1 minute, Papa.
Oh, you come down this moment. Oh, you little thief, take that suit off your back.
Don't call my son a thief.
What then is he? He stole those clothes.
Oh, he's only a boy. He wasn't stealing. Ephraim, take the suit off.
I want you to beat him.
Take it off carefully, Ephraim.
I said I want you to beat him.
You paid for the suit, that's all.
Well, I'll give you extra money. Beat him. Thieves must be punished.
God will judge him, not you.
Oh, you're a fool. If that suit isn't delivered to my house in 15 minutes, I shall beat him myself.
Tell me, Ephraim. Tell me why.
For just 1 minute. For just a tiny little minute, I wanted to see how it feels to wear a new suit.
Yes, I know. Take it off now, quickly.
All right. Here's the jacket, Papa. Papa, I won't have to bring it to his house, will I, Papa? Please say I won't have to.
No, I won't ask you to do that. I'll take it there myself.
Papa, you're good to me.
It's all right, boy. Careful of the trousers. Don't soil them.
Here, Papa. They're not soiled. Oh, Papa. You didn't even say this Skadash. You didn't say it, Papa. You didn't.
these next days, the face of Ephraim the tailor's son grew paler, and he coughed at night, and then during the day. And sometimes when he coughed, there was a redness on the handkerchief he brought away from his mouth, and a burning in his eyes, a burning like the burning of live coals. And the soul that was within him burned also, and spilled itself out into yearning, a yearning for the word Tischadesh, wear it well, wear it well. It was as though a little mosquito dwelt in his brain. And the little mosquito kept drilling and kept drilling into his brain. And the little mosquito drilled into his brain and made a great round hole and filled it with why questions.
Why haven't you a new suit? Why does everyone else have a new suit? Why is your father poor? Why?
Ephraim? Ephraim, speak to me.
I'm all right, Papa.
Oh, no, you're not all right. You're sick.
I'm not sick. I'm tired. I'm just tired. Papa, did you do something wrong? Did you do a crime against someone? Papa, what was the crime?
Don't you know?
No, Papa.
I'm poor, Ephraim. That's a crime. In this world, to be poor is such a terrible crime.
Ephraim thought about this for a long time. It disturbed him, but it also gave him a queer satisfaction. For his soul continued to shrivel, and a strange light burned in the pupil of his eye. And the poor tailor looked at his son, and they washed their faces, and they went to the synagogue, where there was light and happiness and rest. And once again the tailor dozed and did not hear the cantor. But Ephraim heard, even the sound of new clothes rustling. Then the rabbi began to speak. And then the rabbi paused to ask a question.
When will justice reign? And when will mankind come unto truth? It is a fateful question.
And then a remarkable thing happened. For little Ephraim stood up, and he said,
Rabbi, I know the answer.
There was an incredulous silence in the synagogue. Then some men murmured, but the rabbi nodded his head for Ephraim to speak.
I know the answer. It is simple. Justice will reign and men will come unto truth when everyone will have a new suit of clothes. Everyone, even the children. They will all have new clothes. New clothes for everyone. Everyone. The day will come when everyone will go into the synagogue with a new suit of clothes, and he will hear the word Tischadesh from his neighbor. And he will answer, Tischadesh. It will be so good that all the angels in heaven will begin to sing.
And then Ephraim sat down, and a terrible cough bruised his lips. The blood came forth from his lips. The blood came forth from his mouth and gushed red over his tattered clothes. He weighed very little in his father's arms. His father carried him from the synagogue into the street where the birds were singing. But Ephraim could not hear them. He heard a song that sang gently in his ear, a song of Mordecai dressed in robes of purple, a new suit for Mordecai. And Ephraim was Mordecai. And the people gathered round and raised their voices to the Lord. Thou hast ever been the salvation of the people of Israel, their hope from generation to generation. And the people praised Ephraim, who was Mordecai, and Mordecai, who was Ephraim.
Ephraim, it's your father, Ephraim. Can you hear me, Ephraim? Ephraim, the doctor is here. This is the doctor, Ephraim. Don't be frightened.
Hello. I'm not going to hurt you.
Ephraim, speak to the doctor. You remember him. He's an old friend of ours.
You remember me, boy, don't you? He'll talk later. Don't worry. Once we get him to the hospital, he'll be all right.
I wish he would speak. Ephraim, you remember the doctor? Why, he came to our shop only a few weeks ago. I made him a new suit of clothes. You remember?
Of course, Ephraim. I'm wearing it now.
Speak to the doctor, Ephraim. Say something.
Kish Kadesh, doctor. Wear it well.
You're his father, aren't you?
Yes, nurse. May I see him?
Not now. It isn't wise.
You sure?
The doctor wishes him to be quiet.
Oh, does he? Does he ask for me?
Very often.
Nurse, when he asks for me again, please give this to him.
This bundle?
I'll unwrap it. It's a bolt of cloth.
Are you sure you want me to give this to him?
It will make him well. It is the best medicine in the world for Ephraim. Say to him that this cloth is for his new suit. He will understand. You'll see. It will make him well.
All right. I'll give it to him.
And you'll tell him what I said?
I'll tell him.
Then he will be well again. You'll see.
But Ephraim did not speak. There was only the dream left, the dream that had always come. But this time, it was different.
Hello, Ephraim.
I know you. You're the needle that sews.
Can you see me now?
Yes. You're very pretty.
I'm glad you think so. Here is the bolt of cloth. He wants to talk to you.
Can you see me, Ephraim?
Yes. I like you.
That's good, because I'm very fine cloth. There is no cloth like me short of heaven. See? They all say so.
They all did. They all said so. For the angels were descending, so many angels that the world was full of them. And one carried a scissors and another a spool of thread. And they went up and descended and went up with a fluttering of wings, while the bolt of cloth unwound and the needle sewed. In his ears, Ephraim heard a sweet song. And it was the festival again, and Ephraim had a new suit, a suit of white cloth. And the needle smiled at him and said,
Kish Kadesh, Ephraim. Wear it well.
And suddenly there was a black angel. On that day they buried him in new white garments, but his ears did not hear the word Kish Kadesh. He was a boy. His name was Ephraim, and he finally wore a new suit. Do not be saddened by his story or let your spirit grieve. He was only a rather foolish boy who believed that the world would come to justice and to truth when everyone could wear a new suit of clothes. Really, it was very foolish, and people have already forgotten what he said. For after all, he was poor and his father was poor. And to most of the world, people like that
hardly matter.
If you would like a copy of the script you have just heard, you may obtain one without cost by writing to the Eternal Light, 3080 Broadway, New York, 27 New York. And now, we present Rabbi Morris Silverman, editor of the Sabbath and Festival Prayer Book of the Rabbinical Assembly and the United Synagogue, and Rabbi of Temple Emmanuel in Hartford, Connecticut. Rabbi Silverman speaks from Hartford. Rabbi Silverman.
Ah, yes. We are indeed saddened, and our spirit grieves for Ephraim, for all the Ephraims who long for a suit of new clothes. Ephraim believed that the world would come to justice when everyone could wear a suit of new clothes and hear the blessing Tis Chadesh. That was not foolish at all, and people like Ephraim do matter very much. To Ephraim, justice was a suit of new clothes because it symbolized equality, dignity, self-respect. To another child, justice is a decent home, or nourishing food, or air and sunshine in which to develop and grow. To someone else, be he Jew, Catholic, or Negro, it is the open door of a college, an opportunity to equip himself for a career of his choice, or to find employment without discrimination. David Frischman's story mirrors the pathetic conditions of Jewish children in Eastern Europe about 4 decades ago. Would that there were in our generation a David Frischman to depict the unprecedented, tragic plight of thousands of children in Europe today, orphaned and homeless, seared by the fires of hate and persecution, innocent victims of man's inhumanity to man. But there are people who do care. Christians in Europe risk their lives to feed, protect, and rescue Jewish children from death. We in America care too. Through various agencies, we are sending to Palestine thousands of children who miraculously managed to survive the bestialities of the Nazis. There in Palestine, they will find friends waiting with outstretched arms to receive them. They will find new homes where they may live free and happy lives. They will become self-respecting people, loved and wanted, giving of their talents to a land which gave them hope. Yes, they will hear Tis Chadesh, and their hearts will be glad. Here in America, in this glorious land of abundance, we have Ephraims. Ephraims who are unhappy, stunted, impoverished. Ephraims who are ill-housed, ill-clothed, and ill-fed. Morton Wishengrad's excellent adaptation of this touching story must haunt us every day of our lives until there be no more such children anywhere in the world, until such time as men will at last come to know that our society, if it is to endure, must be based on justice for all, and that human progress lies in our ability to prevent the causes of social misery, rather than to effect a cure. Justice, justice shalt thou pursue. Then there would be no more Ephraims who would long in vain for a suit of new clothes.
Thank you, Rabbi Silverman. The Eternal Light is written by Morton Wishengrad. The music is composed by Morris Momorsky and conducted by Milton Catums. Our narrator was Alexander Scrooby, and the boy Ephraim was played by Michael Artist. Cantor David Putterman was the soloist, and the entire production was under the direction of Frank Papp. Our dramatization today was based upon a story by David Frischman. If you would like a free copy of the script, Write to the Eternal Light, 3080 Broadway, New York 27, New York. Listen to the Eternal Light next Sunday when you'll hear a special program entitled To the Disinherited. The story of the displaced persons of Europe is reported by Judge Simon H. Rifkind. This program is a presentation of the National Broadcasting Company and its affiliated independent stations and comes to you under the auspices of the Jewish Theological Seminary of America. This is NBC, the National Broadcasting Company.